The Golden State Warriors are 9-8 after starting the season 4-1. And what is the quickest way to tension in a locker room? Losing basketball games. And that's where the Golden State Warriors are at this point. They are a soap opera. Once again, Jonathan Kuminga is complaining about where he is at in Steve Kerr's rotation. We're going to break down his comments, or at least his sourced comments from people close to the team, and then how his teammates have reacted to it as well, Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green, on today's show. But first, I just want to get the pulse of Dub Nation real quick. How are you guys all feeling? Because I'm pretty frustrated for the most part with the Warriors' losses, not only to the ones to the Pacers and the Bucks a couple weeks ago, but to the Magic and the Heat the last two nights. If you're frustrated as well, I think everybody watching this video should be. Go down below and hit that thumbs up icon like today's video. Conveniently enough, the past two games the Warriors have lost, Jonathan Kuminga has not been a part of the lineup as he has been dealing with knee tendonitis. Other people know it as jumper's knee. People are speculating that it is. And this is unfortunate for the Warriors, not only because they don't have one of their better young talented players in Kuminga out there on the floor, but this also hampers his trade value. As we all know, the Warriors and Kuminga are kind of in the understanding that they're going to look for a trade once he is eligible past January 15th. But with him not out there on the court, other teams are going to be pretty wary, and they're not going to maybe want to give as much value to Golden State as they're looking for in a Jonathan Kuminga trade here. So Kuminga's not out there to market himself, and he's not out there for the Warriors to market him to other teams either. But just before that injury went down for Kuminga, Steve Kerr actually demoted him to the bench. The Warriors had lost 5 of 7 games, and they were looking for a shakeup. They were looking for a different look, and Golden State ended up going with a starting lineup that included Moses Moody as well as Will Richard, and starting Draymond Green at the center position, going back to a small ball lineup. Now, how did Kuminga react to that? Anthony Slater of ESPN has the latest. He said that the Warriors lost 5 of their next 7 after they started 4-1. Kuminga's turnovers spiked and performance dipped. Searching for rotation answers, Kerr demoted Kuminga back to a bench role, reopening old wounds. Quote, he feels like the scapegoat again, one team source said. And look, Steve Kerr, he's not totally blameless in this scenario. Like, he did this last year, and that kind of really just over-exasperated the Jonathan Kuminga frustration, right, with him being in the starting lineup, out of the starting lineup. I'm sure at some point this season he'll be back in the starting lineup again. But you can't blame Kerr completely for having a short leash here. Like, if Kuminga's turning the ball over and he's not, being a good enough or an engaged enough defender, then he doesn't deserve to be in the starting lineup. It's plain to see. Kerr goes out there and takes Will Richard and Moses Moody, guys who want it, and they're going to give out 110% effort on both sides of the ball, and he put them in the starting lineup. And the Warriors won a couple of games because of it. So, and it's not only just that. The metrics with those lineups also suggest this. So it's the eye test, and it's also the numbers telling you that lineups with Moses Moody in them alongside Steph, Jimmy, Draymond, and it doesn't really matter who the 5th starter is after that. Could be Will Richard, could be somebody else. But those numbers are way better than the numbers with Jonathan Kuminga on the floor next to all those guys. Wasn't always the case, but after the first couple of games of the season, it seems like Kuminga has shifted back to his old ways. But that doesn't mean that he doesn't have big-time support from his teammates. Like, the veterans on this roster are still very much behind Jonathan Kuminga. Jimmy Butler specifically, as well as Draymond Green. But we'll talk about Jimmy's quotes here at the start. Here's what he said about Kuminga's situation. He said that, can you just imagine being in his shoes or being in a place where, like, I get it, are you wanted here or not? That's the worst feeling, man. Can you imagine it? I had to deal with it in the later part of my tenure in Miami. It's like, damn, I've been here. What are we talking about? It's a shitty place to be in. And no matter what you do, you don't feel like you're doing right. Jimmy Butler sees a lot of himself in Jonathan Kuminga here, and because of that, the Warriors are kind of looking to him to be able to kind of mend this, get Kuminga's mindset tailored to what the Warriors want to do, and that's winning basketball games and play within their system. It hasn't really been that consistent to this point, so they're looking to their veteran and Jimmy Butler to be able to go out there and I just kind of steer Kuminga in the right direction. He's made the effort. We'll talk about that in just a second, but more from Slater here. He said, for the Warriors to reach their ceiling this season, there's an internal belief that Kuminga, even in a condensed role, must shake off some of his built-up resentment and get back to the impact wing from the first couple of weeks, even if the long-term benefit for both sides is more about a bump in trade value than a partnership. He doesn't become trade eligible until January 15th, which means at least 2 more months of a relationship enduring on a fractured foundation. For it to be quietly mended, there's a quiet acknowledgement by several in the organization And around Kuminga, that one voice has the best chance of breaking through to guide everything to a stable place, and that voice is Jimmy Butler. Now, Kuminga spoke on Jimmy Butler as well. He said, I feel like he's one of the people that actually has been in my shoes throughout his career, and he knows what I've been going through. It's a little bit different situation, right? Because Kuminga came into this league as a lottery pick, top 10 selection. Jimmy Butler was, the 30th overall pick going on to one of the best teams in the NBA at the time in the Chicago Bulls, and he had to kind of work his way up. I guess Kuminga got dropped into one of the best rosters at the time as well, but the expectations for him had already been higher than what they had been for Jimmy Butler way back when. Like, Jimmy Butler went down, put his head down, and grinded his way to the top. It feels like there's been a lot more, complaining and entitlement from Kuminga's side compared to what we looked at with Jimmy Butler nearly 15 years ago. But Jimmy's not stopping. Jimmy's putting in the effort to get Kuminga on the right track. He's had him over for a couple of dinners at this point, and I don't know what they're talking about during all that time. It's probably more of a friendship, camaraderie kind of thing, but there is definitely some basketball talk and all of that because that's what these two guys revolve around. And I'm sure and I hope that Jimmy Butler is in Kuminga's ear telling him, dude, just take it to the basket and look to where the defense is gravitating towards and make the right play, whether that's going up and scoring or kicking out to an open teammate. Like, I hope that Jimmy is instilling this kind of stuff in him because it is possible, and we saw it through the first couple of games of the season. However, the plan we know for months now, basically for the better part of a year, since they did not come to terms on a contract extension before last season, the plan has been and still is to trade Jonathan Kuminga. But like Slater said, for the next 2 months until he's trade eligible, there has to be some sort of compromise between the two sides. Like, Kuminga's got to buy in, and they got to win games, and he's got to bump his trade value up a little bit more because there's also a team option at the end of the season looming for him. So he might be looking at a new contract and a new sort of negotiation to be had this summer. He's got to go out there and perform, and also has to get out there and be healthy in the meantime as well. You decide for me down in the comment section right now. Do the Warriors need to trade Jonathan Kuminga as soon as possible? We're going to show you some numbers here based on what he's done versus in October versus November in a little bit. That might change your mind, but for right now, do the Warriors need to trade Jonathan Kuminga as soon as possible, as soon as January 15th hits? Y for yes and for no. You comment down below what you guys think. Like I said, this needs to improve in the meantime. Until that day comes, we need to win basketball games, and Jonathan Kuminga needs to be a part of it. So next, we're going to tell you guys how this improves until that day comes. First, though, I got to tell you guys about our sponsor, as this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every single day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. So get started with $50 instantly in lineups on the #1 daily fantasy sports app in America and download Prize Picks. All you guys got to do is pick 2 to 6 players and just pick more or less on their projected stats, and you watch your favorite sports and watch the winnings roll in. It takes less than 60 seconds to create a lineup, and Prize Picks separates themselves because of the features that they offer. They offer stacks. So if you wanted to take 2 stat projections, maybe even 3 from the same player, and put it in the same lineup, you can do so only on Prize Picks. It's also becoming a social event as well, where you can follow your friends, creators, celebrities, and copy their lineups into your own using the brand new Feed tab. My lineup for tonight's football action. Yes, I'm going to the gridiron on this Prize Picks. Give me A.J. Epinesa more than 0.25 sacks. Give me James Cook more than 75.5 rushing yards. And then give me Woody Marks of the Houston Texans more than 74.5 rushing plus receiving yards. You can tell my picks or fade them. Just do it at Prize Picks. Download the app today and use that code CLNS to get $50 in lineups instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. The Warriors started the season 4-1. I think we're forgetting that a little bit, right? Like, they are 9-8 now. It's been pretty doom and gloom. Steph's been missing games. Jimmy's missing games. Draymond's missing games. But they started the season 4-1. There was good basketball to be played because they were playing some solid opponents through those first couple of games as well. The Lakers, the Nuggets, and Jonathan Kuminga had been very complimentary. He'd been playing very well in those matchups. Honestly, he'd been playing like a guy like Aaron Gordon was. And you saw through the first 6 games of the season where he was getting 30 minutes a night and he was playing within the Warriors system and making the right reads, that the numbers were there for Jonathan Kuminga. 17.5 points per game, nearly 8 boards a night, almost 4 assists as well. I mean, look at the efficiencies from this guy. 45% from 3. You don't see that Jonathan Kuminga very often, but the confidence was there because he was in the starting lineup and he was just playing well off of Jimmy Butler. Wasn't trying to do too much. The tunnel vision stuff wasn't there. He wasn't settling for mid-range jumpers. He was crashing the glass and pushing the pace. That's how he is going to be effective. Get back to the player you were at the start, catching lobs, being available in the dunker spot, being a player who's looking for guys on the perimeter when the defense collapses in towards you, and not trying to force shots up through tight contests. He can do that stuff, but it's all about being in between the ears. Steve Kerr knows it too. Think about what he said after the Laker game in the opening night of the season. He said it's about playing through Steph. I reminded the team that every time you set a ball screen on Steph or pin away for him and slip, that's when the flow happens. JK was brilliant in that second half. He got a backdoor layup on a ran a split cut, popped out, knocked down a three, and we win the game. So it's like, okay, the second half felt better, but it still didn't feel like, all right, I'm sure about this. And he's talking about playing Kuminga next to Jimmy, next to Draymond, essentially starting him here. But and 2 nights later, like, Kuminga played 36 minutes. He closed the game alongside Al Horford, Jimmy, and Draymond and Steph in the win over the Denver Nuggets, and Jokic, who was cooking throughout that game. So, like, it's insane to me that there is this player inside of Jonathan Kuminga, but over long stretches, you see him slowly get further and further away from the player that he was at the start of the season. Like, it makes no sense to me. So he's playing this great basketball. Next thing you know, he's not playing this great basketball, and Golden State loses 5 of the next 7 games. And Steve Kerr's like, we need a new look. We need a new lineup. Goes with Will Richard. Goes with Moses Moody. They win a couple of games there. Moody has a 30-point game. Will Richard has a 30-point game. Like, he saw legitimate winning contributions from Moses Moody and Will Richard. There's a reason that he put Jonathan Kuminga on the bench. Now, Draymond Green, like I mentioned before, has been a big supporter of Kuminga throughout this whole thing, and he hasn't been particularly happy with the move based on all the comments that we've heard from him. Here's just a few from Draymond on the whole situation. He said, guess what we can do when he's coming off the bench? Feature him. That's what he needs, but it takes some time. There's been no practice. He's got his knee, so let's get healthy and we'll put this together. It's a long season. He's going to help us win an effing ton of games. Look, if Draymond believes it, I'll believe it, but I'm telling you guys, Kuminga did not fool me. He wants to be the man. He wants to be the go-to scorer, and Draymond's saying that he should be, but I don't think it's that. His usage at the start of the season was lower than what it was all of last year, and the numbers were better. So it's all about mindset. He just has to buy in and make the right plays and make the winning plays, and all the box score numbers will come for Jonathan Kuminga. It won't be this money situation anymore. He's got to get back to the way that he was at the start of the season. Butler said this on it. He said that, I think with that, though, he's got to understand it doesn't mean just score, because I don't mind taking the back seat to him and letting him do his thing. And I'm down there in the dunker spot. I'm setting screens. I don't mind. But you know what we better do? We better effing win. That's it. Whatever we want to do, I'm fine with it. It better be towards winning, because that's all I care about. I don't care about anything else. I said at the top of today's video, the quickest way to tension in the locker room is losing basketball games. The quickest way to remove tension is winning basketball games. So get back to your winning ways, and that has a lot to do with Jonathan Kuminga and the way that he's playing basketball. Get back to those winning ways, and the tension will be gone, and everybody will be hunky-dory, and the Warriors will be back to a playoff trajectory once again, because they're not right now. With that being said, if you want the Warriors to go out there and beat the Blazers tomorrow night, we'll be live for it right here on the channel. Go down below, hit that thumbs up icon on your way out if you have not already, and make sure you are subscribed to the channel. And turn your notifications on as well, because you'll get notified when we go live here for Warriors versus Blazers on Friday night. We'll see you guys all then, and as always, let's go Dubs.